Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo. Today's guest is the promoter of the new IFBB MuscleContest Ireland show, our friend and very interesting promoter, Brian Bullman. Brian, you're interesting in the sense that you've come from a family of multi-generation bodybuilders, guys who've competed and promoted shows for over 40 years in Ireland.
Yeah, back in the 70s, my uncle used to train at my dad's judo club, and he was too skinny. He was like 100 pounds at 18 years old. So my dad, he was a PT sergeant in the army, bought my uncle weights, put him on a weight training program for judo to fight for his black belt. And, long story short, he never fought for his black belt and went on to compete in bodybuilding. Was the first Irish guy to go to the Mr. Universe. And then he was also the first and only Irish guy to be on an Olympia stage, albeit at the Masters Olympia. So from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, we've been involved in the sport,
What was his name?
Sean Bullman is my uncle's name.
Oh, okay, I know your uncle. Okay. So Sean obviously must have competed during the same time period that Arnold was coming up.
So Arnold had just retired, let's say, for the first time when Sean started competing. So when Sean finally went to the Mr. Universe in 1980, he had been training for only 3 years, and he met a guy there by the name of Walter O'Malley.
Right. And
Walter was kind of the transition. I don't know if you noticed, but Walter was born in Ireland and moved to England at 13 years old. So
I didn't know that.
He always saw himself as an Irish guy. So he kind of took my uncle, who was this, 21-year-old competing with these men at the Universe, under his wing. And Frank Richards, who was also at that time, they're the guys that transitioned from Arnold's period to kind of my uncle's time. And I think the first Mr. Universe that he did, he met those guys. They all got drunk after the show, all three of them. And they were going back to the hotel room, and Walter had passed out. And Walter was probably 250 pounds in shape back in those days.
Wow.
And my uncle, who was probably right around the 170 mark, was trying to open the door. Walter falls on top of him, passed out drunk. They couldn't wake him up. And then Frank went to take some of Walter's Irish whiskey, just cracked the seal, and miraculously Walter wakes up and who the heck is drinking my whiskey, I was probably 4 years old at the time, and they wound up coming to Ireland, and ever since then, every year they would come, I would get kicked out of my bedroom. So Mr. Universe, Walter O'Malley, and Olympia competitor Frank Richards had beds to sleep on. That's my introduction to professional bodybuilders.
That's great. It's funny, but stereotypes really are true. You Irish guys love your freaking alcohol, huh?
And it's one of those things, when training for shows, you would not, I'm not the biggest drinker in the world, but right. It's because I love bodybuilding, I love training, but I get drunk pretty easy, but I'll always be the last man standing, that's for sure. You can guarantee that. Something in the genetics.
Well, yeah. Walter O'Malley was very well known for bringing a lot of top American bodybuilders over to Europe to guest pose back in the 80s and 90s. I know my friend Jerry Scalisi went over there a lot with Walter. I mean, he would bring all the top guys over there for Europe, and they made a lot of money with him, too, over there.
Yeah. Walter he loves bodybuilding. I haven't spoke to him in about 10 years. So 2008 was the last time I spoke to him, and he was in Ireland for the national championships, and he guest posed. At that stage, he was in his mid-70s, and he got up on stage and guest posed, and he looked phenomenal. Still holding all that mass. The guy just lives and breathes bodybuilding. He loves everything about the sport,
Brian, why do you think it is that there aren't more top, Irish level bodybuilders on the pro scene?
I don't think it's got to do with genetics. We have some phenomenal bodybuilders in Ireland, and when we see some of them compete at MuscleContest in a couple of weeks, you'll see the standard that's there. And I think you had Vinnie Crane on here a couple of months back who just turned pro after winning the Europeans. And Vinnie's a great bodybuilder and has a great physique. And, I think he's got a good future in the pro league. But the Irish people, after being oppressed for 800 years by the British, have a very low self-esteem. And this goes throughout all sports. And every once in a while, you'll have somebody come along that will win an Olympic medal. And I'd say one Olympic medal. We had a great swimmer by the name of Michelle Smith, who at the 96 games won 3 gold and a silver. And then we didn't see anything for a few years, and then you see a few boxers win. You have those guys that would come along once in a generation that believe in themselves, and then they show the world what Ireland has to offer, like Conor McGregor.
Right.
There's a man that believed in himself more than anybody else ever believed in him, and took the UFC by storm. He became the first guy to hold 2 titles in 2 weight classes, and it managed to talk his way into a fight with Floyd Mayweather and just cashed it, you know what I mean? So, and I think that's all that Irish bodybuilding needs, is more people that have the belief in themselves, like Conor McGregor had, and they'll go somewhere. But believe it or not, I was the first ever, and I believe the only ever Irish bodybuilder to be featured in Flex magazine. I got a 5-page feature back when I was competing, and it wasn't because I was better than every other bodybuilder. It's because I called up Flex magazine and I said, hey, I'm Irish champion. I want to be in your magazine.
Right.
What do I have to do? And the answer I got was, send us some pictures and then we'll go from there. I sent them pictures and they did a feature on me. So
that's awesome.
I think if they believe in themselves more, Dave, they're going to go further.
Yeah. It's
That's
a guy.
what it's all about.
I never really looked at it from that perspective of British oppression and everything like that. Maybe that's why Irish people drink so much too. Who knows? I guess if I was oppressed for 600 years, I might think the same way. The funny thing is that the Irish people are the best looking people in the world. They got the best features. They're all the models.
We are a handsome breed of people. This is true.
All right, let's talk about this muscle contest. Number one, what made you decide to team up with John Lindsay to do this show in Ireland?
So when I moved to California over a decade ago, I was still competing and training. And then when I became a judge, John called me up and said, hey, I want you to come and judge my pro shows. So when I went, and John does like 20-something pro shows a year.
Yeah.
So I was judging all those shows, and then eventually, Tamer took over as the CEO of MuscleContest.
Right.
And Tamer was like, hey, I would like you to get involved with judging on the NPC side as well. So, we started talking about, hey, I would really love to bring a big show to Ireland where we can do these pro qualifiers. And we've been talking about it for a couple of years and trying to figure out the logistics. And then, this whole division happened between IFBB Amateur and the Pro League.
Right.
And it was like, now we have to move on it now. And it just made the plans we were trying to take our time with and really do the right way, it got sped up. So we were like, if there's going to be a pro qualifier going on in my country, I'm the one that's going to be doing it.
Right. Good.
So really,
So you're gonna have, not only you're gonna have the Pro 212 division, you're gonna have a pro qualifier. So you're gonna be giving pro cards to all the overall winners of the divisions?
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're not gonna have all 7 divisions, but 6. We'll have all the divisions except fitness. So the overall winner in the men's bodybuilding, men's physique, classic physique, women's physique, women's figure, and bikini. All those overall winners will all go pro.
Okay.
And then, not only that, I signed up with Flex Magazine in the UK and Italy, and they're going to produce features on all the overall winners.
Right. And
potentially cover shoots for them also.
Oh, good. That's my good friend John Enrico Pica's magazine, yeah.
John Enrico is the Italian guy, and then in England it's Carl Walker is the guy in the UK.
Right. Oh, that's exciting. Now, the 212 division should be pretty good because I know you got a couple of David Henry is committed to the show. Sammy Trouty is committed to the show. I know you also told me that I didn't even know this, Masoom Butt, actually, who's Pakistani, but he lives in Ireland. Is that true?
That is right. He moved to Northern Ireland. So it depends on who you talk to, whether they say he lives in Ireland or the UK. Technically speaking, Northern Ireland is part of the UK, but, we like to claim the whole Ireland as our own.
That's right.
So he trains up there in Dave Fox's pro gym. The guy's a great 212 competitor.
Yeah.
And I think he will. I think he'll do well, and he'll represent Ireland well.
Well, he's got the same problem that a lot of these, like Hadi Shupin and all these Iranian guys got. They can't get into the United States. They can't get a visa to come here, and so they have to compete overseas.
And and I think that's where this whole new approach to the IFBB Pro League is really going to come in and help these athletes. Is in the matter of weeks. I think we got like 58 shows around the world.
Yeah.
And it gives these guys an opportunity to compete. They'll qualify for the Olympic, and qualifying this far out just gives you more time to get the visa situation if you come from one of those countries that has the issue,
Yeah, I think what they should do is if you win a show and you can't get a visa, they should go to the second place guy and give him the qualification for the Olympiad.
That's something that could be looked at, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, why not? I mean, you might as well make it available. All right, well, Brian, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Where is this show being held, and how can people buy tickets if they want?
So the show is going to be on in Limerick City, which is my hometown. We were very specific when we picked it. A lot of people asked, why is it not on in Dublin? Dublin's the capital.
Right.
Well, Limerick is the sporting capital of Ireland. All the champion athletes, no matter what sport, all train in Limerick City at the National Training Centre at the university campus.
Right.
Now, it's also the birthplace of bodybuilding in Ireland. The very first Irish bodybuilder champion comes from Limerick City.
Really? What was his name?
His name is Tommy Dillon, and he's still going strong.
Really?
He's going to be a guest of honor at the show. I've known Tommy my whole life. He's been bodybuilding and powerlifting as long as he can remember, and he's still in great, still looks fit and healthy, He is getting older, but we appreciate all he's done for the sport,
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we also have a giant kettlebell statue in the middle of the city as a memorial to a guy by the name of O'Grady, who was the world's strongest man about 100 years ago, back in Sandow's time,
That's great.
Which is super cool as well, I think,
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I want to just wish Brian, I want to wish you the best of luck at the show. The show is going to be on April 14th. How can people get tickets?
They can get tickets on MuscleContestInternational.com. The tickets for the show are available on there, and of course we'll have tickets on the day at the venue as well.
Right.
MuscleContestInternational.com is where they'll find all the information. The venue is the South Court Hotel and Convention Centre, which is in Limerick City. It's about 10 minutes from Shannon Airport. The hotel is attached to the venue, and then there's plenty of other hotels around if there's any issues in that regard. And if you name Muscle Contest, to get a discount on the hotel price, of course, as well.
It sounds exciting. The big show. First time we're going to see a pro show, at least that I can, in my recent memory, in Ireland. If you guys, 212 guys, are looking for a place to compete, this might be it. Is it too late to enter the show for these guys?
No, you can enter the show right. Actually, you can enter the show right up to it. The only difference it's going to be is you're going to pay more in your registration fee after the deadline, which is the 7th of April.
Gotcha. All right.
That will go up.
Hey,
it's funny.
You're giving these athletes a great opportunity to earn their pro status, something that never ever was able to happen in Ireland. So, you'd be crazy if you're an Irish bodybuilder or an Irish competitor not to do this show, because you can walk away with an IFBB pro card.
this is something that it was just a dream back when I was competing. I just talked to my uncle this morning about it, how, you know, every opportunity is being afforded to the Irish athletes, and actually from all over the world that are actually coming. There's competitors flying in from California, Pakistan, China, coming to Ireland for this contest. It's going to be phenomenal.
Brian, when you think about it, really though, it is kind of ridiculous that people who won the Irish Nationals championships couldn't get pro cards in the past, and now, I mean, every country should have a national championship where you could earn a pro status at. I don't understand why they didn't do it. This is so much smarter, you know.
I think it's a great opportunity now, and I think back in the old days when, you know, you had to win the Irish championships, then go to the European championships, and as the rules changed amongst the amateur ranks, you know, that's really what caused some of the issues, I think.
Right.
You know, but it's a phenomenal opportunity.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of trivia. The last time Ireland was involved with professional bodybuilding was when Eugene Sandow put on the great show in London back in like 1908, I think it was. And there was bodybuilders, professional bodybuilders from England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, but that's the last time Ireland and professional bodybuilding in the vicinity had a correlation. So that's kind of interesting little trivia there on bodybuilding history for anyone that is.
Yeah, when the Pilgrims came over on the Mayflower, they made a pit stop in Ireland and they did a bodybuilding show, and that was the last bodybuilding show you guys had there.
Yeah.
Well, good luck this April 14th weekend, and guys, make sure you sign up, buy your tickets, and big opportunity here in Ireland. And thanks to you, Brian, for making it happen.
Well, it's Tamer El-Gundy is really the strength behind it. I'm the force on the ground for him, you know.
There you go.
MuscleContest are really pulling out all the stops to make this happen. So we got to take our hat off to him.
Tamer's a #1 guy, and I'm sure he'll be running those shows like a well-oiled machine. And I'm sure the Irish people will greatly appreciate it. For now, though, we're out of time. Until next week and next time, I'm Dave Palumbo with another edition of Live With.